Talking Shirts is presented in partnership with White Oak Cottage. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Hello, welcome to episode number 141 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike of Hull KR Shirts, and today we're going to take a look at this 1993-1994 home shirt. So the 93-94 home shirt was actually a gap within my collection. I had a replica version, a supporters version if you like, but I didn't actually have a player spec version. So when I picked this one up a couple of months ago, it was a gap filler within the collection, which as a shirt collector is something that fills you with immense joy. When you've got as many shirts as I have, it's difficult to kind of pinpoint down those gaps, and trying to fill them is often quite tough. So when this one came into the collection, I was absolutely over the moon. So as you can see, yeah, the 1993-94 home shirt. It is an all-white shirt, but it does have quite a bit of red and blue detailing on it. It was manufactured by Matchwinner, the Scottish firm. They did actually supply shirts to Hull City and Hull FC during the early 1990s as well. We signed up with them in late 1989, ahead of that 89-90 season, and we did actually remain with them all the way through to the end of 1994. It's got the Hull Kingston Rovers club crest. This has got really interesting application. It's actually been embroidered to the shirt, but there is also a little bit of sort of loose fabric that's within that crest. It's not just a straight embroidery onto the shirt. There is a sort of a bit of a patchwork to it in terms of how that's been applied. And it's been applied in a lovely colourway. And we've obviously got the blue outside edge, which has been embroidered. And then we've got Hull, Kingston, Rovers, and then RFC. All of those have been embroidered in red. And then we've got the three crowns, which have been also embroidered in blue. The main front of shirt sponsor was John Smith's. We did have this on the home kit and on the away kit. I believe it was probably something to do with the Riding Bitter contract, which then changed to a John Smith's one, which then changed to a Hull Brewery one into 1995. So I feel like there was probably some overarching agreement that saw all of those appear across the shirt in sort of back-to-back seasons. Without having direct evidence of that, that to me feels like what that probably was. I believe that they are all owned by that same brewer, but somebody might be able to correct me if I'm wrong there. It's got a really big, broad red band across the shirt, which almost gets a little bit lost within various other design elements, most notably the diamond effect that features across the front of the shirt, on the sleeves and also on the back. Sort of younger supporters may remember the 2023 alternate diamond shirt, one that I've spoke fondly about on various episodes of Talking Shirts. The inspiration for that shirt came from this shirt and the away shirt during the early 1990s. It's also got a turnover collar. This one's a lovely cotton one, which is it's not actually been fixed down, which wasn't a thing during the early 90s. That we saw that in 2007. But this is a turnover collar which remains as was manufactured. It also has the placket as well, which has got 1, 2 and then 3 buttons, the one at the top there. I didn't fasten that one because it was just a little bit too tight on the mannequin. Some players did choose to sort of turn this completely inside and then wear it sort of as a grandad style collar, just to limit the grip that an opposing player may have on the defending player. It is obviously a blue collar on the outside, but the insert is actually in red. So if players was to wear that upright, you know, the Eric Cantona style, then you would obviously see the red sort of showing through there as well. Underneath here, we've got the reinforced stitching. This sort of element here just helps the placket then not rip further should there be any sort of contortion to the front of the shirt there, which is, you know, really sort of useful. We've seen this sort of withstand quite a lot of tension in games over the years, and it's probably served an awful lot of repair bills or even just replacement shirts for, you know, if these had torn. Let's have a little look at the sleeves here. So we will look at this left one as wearing first. I believe they are both the same, so it might just be a quick skim around the other one, but we will just double check to be fully sure. But yeah, the sleeve detailing here, you know, the diamond effect continues on. We have got 3 diamonds all next to each other. We've got the Matchwinner logo, again, their branding features quite prominently there. Above that, we have got the Rugby Football League 13 patch. Again, this is something that featured very prominently across shirts in the 90s, and I think it was something that was loved by quite a lot of people. But yeah, the design just continues all the way around there, as you would expect on that sleeve. These shirts were really big and sort of baggy. As you can tell from this one, it only does just fit on the mannequin, which is quite interesting. when it comes to these shirts from the 1990s. And then looking at this sleeve here, yeah, as expected, it is exactly the same as the other sleeve there. Match winner logo, same sleeve design, which is just a kind of a continuation of the front of shirt design, and then the Rugby Football League X13 patch on the sleeve there as well. Brilliant. So that's been the front and the sides of this 1993 home shirt. We'll have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll have a little bit of a tour around the reverse.
White Oak Cottage is a 2-bedroom luxury holiday cottage set in the stunning Lincolnshire Wolds. It has 2 ensuite bedrooms, a hot tub, wood burner, Wi-Fi, electric vehicle charger, and is pet friendly. It is ideally situated in the Wolds, yet only 15 miles from the coast and 25 miles from the historic city of Lincoln. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Welcome back to part 2 of episode number 141 of Talking Shirts. Before the break, we was talking our way around this 1993-1994 home shirt, and as you can tell, we are now back with the reverse. So the one thing that is most notable about all these shirts from the 90s is they don't carry anywhere near as many sponsors as what we did actually see, or we do see, should I say, now in the sort of 2010s into the 2020s. They're not littered with sponsors, as we've become accustomed to. They also didn't carry names on the back of shirts. That wasn't a thing at Hull KR up until 2007. So it is just a case of having this number applied to the back of the shirt. Before we talk a little bit about that, we'll focus on the design elements, which then continue from the front onto the back. So the red band doesn't go all the way around, although on this one it probably could have, because of the way that the patched number has been applied on the back. The design decision was made to have that stop on the front, so that does stop underneath the armpit. So it is a plain back to this shirt. We have then got the diamond effect, which we've got up here, down here, and then around this side as well. The ones at the top appear in red, and then these ones, we've got some that are kind of hollow with a bit of design element with white in the middle, and then we've got some that are solid in navy blue. The number that's been applied to the back of the shirt has been stitched onto the shirt on a patch. What that means is that the number has been stitched on to a patch, and then the patch has been stitched onto the shirt. So there is kind of 3 layers to the application of this. The much simpler method these days is for it to have it heat applied using that heat press. Probably much quicker than it is to apply it like this, but this is probably going to last forever once it's on. Whereas the heat applied shirts, they will wear in time, most notably if they're not washed at the correct temperature or in the right method. Whereas this one will probably be still attached until the end of time. This one here, as you can see, it's got a number 5 on in really sort of a deep red colour, which works really well off the white. That's something where you wouldn't have any issues if you were in the stands watching this shirt in action. You would quite clearly be able to see that it is a number 5 on the back of this shirt, often worn in the modern day now by the left winger. We've seen that throughout time, really. But the difference was back then that this shirt will have been worn by whoever played on that left wing position during those games. The player that wore number 5 in 93-94 the most was Bright Sodje. He played 20 odd games, I think, in the number 5 position. So it is most likely that he has worn this shirt. Other players that wore number 5 during the 93-94 season were Richard Oliver, Steve Hadey, somebody that you often see patrolling Craven Park and away days, still supporting the Robins to this day, which is wonderful to see. And also Mick Colt as well. He was another player who played during this 1993-94 season on that left wing. So yeah, there's plenty of options there for players that could have sort of potentially have worn this shirt. On top of Bright Sodje, he's the one that I'm fairly confident will have donned this shirt during that 1993-1994 season. So yeah, that's been your tour around this 93-94 shirt. As I've said, I'm absolutely over the moon to be able to get this one. The feeling of filling a gap is something that's absolutely wonderful as a shirt collector. It's something that's not so easy to come by. So, when you do get one, it's always a little bit of a mini win. So yeah, really happy with this one. There is some marks on the front of here. You might just be able to make them out on the footage. So it wasn't in the best of conditions when I picked it up, but I gave it a bit of a spray with some stain remover, popped it in a cold bath, and just did my best to kind of restore it to a good standard. There's always going to be elements of wear and tear to a shirt like this. It's over 30 years old. You're never quite sure where it's been after sort of being worn to now as well. It could have just been stuck in a cupboard or a loft, or somebody could have been wearing it for training or for various other activities. you never quite know. So yeah, it's nice that I've been able to restore this into a condition which is sort of acceptable as a shirt collector, because like I say, it had seen better days when it arrived with me. So that's everything for episode number 141 of Talking Shirts. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. As I've said, a gap filler, always lovely to be able to bring you one of those. Please feel free to check back in another couple of weeks, where I'll be back with a brand new episode of Talking Shirts, where we look at episode number 142, which is Liam Colburn's 2009 away shirt. Thank you very much for watching. Speak to you all soon. Bye for now.